Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, out on another walk, and today, where am I? Oh, I'm at Rodmell, or Rodmell, or however it's pronounced, just south of Lewes in East Sussex, and I'm here by the Lavalier pub, which is a delicious food pub. A delicious food pub, that's a novelty. And I'm here because I'm looking for a windmill. In fact, 3 windmills. Well, none of them actually exist anymore, which is a bit of a shame. But I'm looking for their site and just taking a walk to where they used to stand. If I go at this crossroads down there, I'll go to Monk's house, which is where Virginia Woolf lived, and you can visit that. But I'm going to head west up what is now called Mill Lane, and the idea is to try and locate the positions, the vague positions, of 3 old windmills. In fact, this place here on my right is called Mill House. I don't know if there was a mill actually there. I believe it's actually further up. We've got a little bit of blue sky. We're filming in March, and we've got some delightful old buildings and walls and things as I make my way up what I believe is going to be a pretty steep hill. So, the first of the mills was around 1590 to 1634, and I believe that was right at the top of the hill, Mill Hill, or Rodmell Hill, I think originally it was called. The second of the mills was 1688 to 1799. That's classed as the old mill. And then the 1801 mill to 1912 is the new mill, which I gather is the one that was somewhere here. Now, you can see here, this is Rodmell Grange is up there. And I believe that up there was where the third of the mills was. We can't get to it, it's on private land. So somewhere to my left, it would have been these newer houses here, of course. Quite a highish little point there, close to the village, which would have been a perfect place to position a mill, because bear in mind, you want the farmers with their corn to be able to get to the mill. So that's one of them. We've got a lot of newish houses here, but this road goes on up towards the downs. So hopefully part of my walk will be able to give us some interesting views. A lot of largish properties here. We've got this one here, Rodmell Hill House, which looks very grand, and then what it's telling me is a private road. Drive slowly, but I know that it's on a public footpath, and we should actually meet up with the South Downs Way. So that's good. It's a signpost I've just spotted that says restricted bridle path. But I've got to let a car go past, and there he goes. Now, got some information about the first windmill. I've had to write them down on bits of cards so I get all the dates and figures quite right. But the one that we've just looked at, well, we haven't actually looked at it, but the position it was owned originally in 1801, lasted for about 9 years under his ownership to a chap called John Fuller, and thereafter he sold it to a John Glazebrook, who ran it until he died, and then his son took over. Well, it lasted, as I say, until about 1912. I think it was pulled down because it was a bit of a wreck thereafter.
Are you speaking to yourself?
I'm talking to myself. Well, I'm now talking to you, which is even nicer. How are you?
What are you doing?
Well, you're nosy, aren't you?
Yes, so am I.
I'm making a YouTube video. I do walks in the country through heritage. So I'm just taking... Oh, you sound worried. No.
At all? No.
I've just been looking at your positions of the old windmills that were here.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to find. So I'm looking for the other two which are up here.
There's one more up there, and there's one somewhere down here, isn't there?
What?
Windmills.
Windmills.
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
Oh,
The two windmills.
Yes.
1912 it was last around.
That's right.
Before your time.
Yes.
Well
Got
before.
pictures of it, yes.
Oh, there you go.
Only just
Yes.
before mine.
Yeah. Well, lovely to meet you.
Yes.
Out for a little stroll?
Well,
Yes,
Yeah, I've
yes.
got a,
Bad foot?
yes. So
Oh.
Broken knee.
I'm being taken for a small walk.
But you know where the windmills were, don't you? You've done
I
a bit
do
of-
actually now.
Yes.
Come to think of it.
So tell
yes.
this gentleman.
What?
He's going to inspect where the windmill
But
sites.
you know, don't you?
I know that I was told there were three. One from dating 1590.
The
The first
was
one.
up there.
Yeah. Well, that's what I want to go and have a look at.
Then they moved them down there.
Sensible suggestion,
Yes.
because I imagine everybody was down there.
Yeah, then it was sort of flatter. So I think that one got blown away.
Yes. Not
Yes. In
surprised.
fact, I've got a whole thing about them.
Oh, there you are. See?
Yes.
You knew all the time.
Well, yes, a bit slow.
That's all right. Well, have a lovely walk, and I hope your foot gets better soon.
So do I.
Yes.
So do I. Thank you.
Take care.
Oh,
Yes.
there's some warmth.
Yes,
There's
I-
warmth now, isn't
I
there?
didn't worry about you at first when I saw you speaking.
Yes.
To nobody.
A lot of people worry about me, I tell you. Yes.
Okay, well,
Take care.
have fun.
Thank you. Well, it doesn't get any better than that, does it? You get to meet some of the locals and they can give you some, if not slightly vague, information that you're seeking. So I'm strolling up here, and as the lady said, somewhere, there was one, and presumably the one she said, it got blown away. It lasted, as I said earlier, from 1590 to 1643. But windmills have been around, of course, for donkey's years, and it's difficult to know, really. I suppose there are records of them if they were not earlier ones. You think, well, what were they doing on the farms here beforehand? Because they've got to have ground their corn even before then. So who knows? Anyway, we'll progressively take our walk further north and see if we can locate the positions which I've seen on some of the old maps and that sort of thing. Well, look at this. Behind me, as I get up onto the South Downs here, we can see right across behind me to the Ouse Valley, and we can even get a glimpse of the ocean there, of the channel rather, as it heads off towards New Haven is down there, and then in front of me claims to be the hilltop according to this sign here, and Mill House, or Mill Hill rather. We see some rather executive looking places. Watch out, it says small dogs. And then here we go, we've managed to get onto the South Downs way, and beyond we can see the terrific views. Not a lot of sunshine, I have to say, but even so, pretty good to get up. And here we go through the gate. So lots of different potential footpaths here. So the South Downs Way, which actually goes east and west, is going north and south. I assume that actually it's probably gone along that ridge over there and carries on west, and then comes down this way and presumably goes back up onto the hills behind me. But I'm not actually going to go that way. We're right on the hilltop, and it must be here where I am now, or possibly behind this fence, who knows, depending if the original property was owned by anybody. Well, it must have been, but it must have been somewhere here that the original mill was positioned back in those days, a very windy spot. And down there, I don't know the name of it, but there's clearly a farm. And then ahead we have this path which heads west. It takes us down the hill. So I can't imagine that actually down here you would put a windmill in the valley, so it's probably behind me. We've got the gorse bushes, which are looking particularly splendid, and we've got the green hills and the beautiful scenery which is all around. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is really my walk for today. Not a terribly long one, just to get up onto the hill and have a look where these windmills are. But I'm going to carry on walking to see what is up on this path and where it goes. So join me on another video when I do that, looking down over, well, I was looking down over Rodmell, but I'm now looking westwards, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.